Republican leaders in Congress say they are ready to get to work on another round of tax cuts. The House's top tax writer, Representative Kevin Brady, spoke about phase 2 this morning on Fox Business. Take a listen.
We're going to build off the momentum of the first tax cuts and reform because that growth is occurring now. Paychecks are going up. We think we can do more. We think we can do more to help families stretch their budgets further. We think we can do more on innovation because at the end of the day, look, the country that wins the innovation race wins the future. We want American workers and American companies doing that.
Joining me now is Congressman Sean Duffy. He's a member of the House Financial Services Committee. Good to see you, Congressman. Thanks for being here. What would a phase 2?
Good to see you too, David.
What would a phase 2 look like, and how soon could you get it passed?
You know, I got to say, I'm not sure. There's been a lot of conversation. President Trump has put this out there that we could do a second phase. There might be some simple things like fixing some of the errors that were in the past code. We want to extend middle-income tax brackets, make them permanent. We could reduce the 7 brackets on the individual side, bring them down to 3 or 4.
Yeah.
The president wanted to get us down to a 15% corporate tax rate. So we might come back and try to get that again, further reduce our rates for pass-through small business companies. And there's a whole slew of things on the table. But what we see is that you've seen wildly successful investment from tax reform. When people get to spend more of their own money and government lets them keep more of it, really great things happen. So I think President Trump would want to build on that and potentially see what else we can get. And, you know, what's fascinating is maybe we'll give Democrats a second chance to actually vote for tax reform.
Oh, yeah,
maybe
right.
A second time. Who knows?
They're not going to. They're not going to pass anything that augurs well for Donald Trump. I mean, that's their ticket. They think their ticket to winning in November. But they have the perfect now. The president has the perfect person in there in form of Larry Kudlow to help him with this, because the one criticism that Larry had about the first round of tax cuts was they didn't do enough on the personal individual side. That the Ronald Reagan tax cuts brought down the top rate quite a bit and accentuated that in 1986 with his second round. If we do that, that will generate all kinds of enthusiasm and entrepreneurship on a lower level, so that rather than a pass on from corporations, you will have the creation of many new businesses like you had in the Reagan administration. No?
No, I absolutely agree. And what I like is that Larry and President Trump seem to have a really great relationship. I've seen them in the same room together, and they kind of feed off each other.
Yeah.
And it seems like President Trump truly trusts Larry Kudlow. I think it's going to be a great partnership. And the president, because he trusts him, can take his advice on what space we can get in phase 2 of tax reform. But again, you let people keep more of their money. We're willing to take more risk with our dollars, to your point,
That's right.
And innovate and create, which in the end, when we do that in small communities, I'm in Wausau, Wisconsin, but you can go to Rice Lake, Wisconsin. When people in our community invest, they create jobs and opportunity for other families in our community. That's what makes this whole thing grow. And listen, as you know, tax reform and reducing regulation, we should 8 years into a recovery be ready for a downturn, for a recession. There's a long runway right now because of tax reform and reg reform. This economy is going to keep growing. It has legs.
Well, and the way it grows is important, too. I mean, what happened in the Reagan administration, a lot of millennials don't know this. They don't, because it's not written in their textbooks, Lord knows. They're not being taught this in schools. But what happened is you had the technological revolution was enabled by the Reagan tax cuts. That's what created all these industries that started out as little operations in the basements of people's houses, turned into the technological revolution. We could have a new wave of technological innovation as a result of this.
And I think you bring up a good point, too. We have a group of millennials who believe that socialism is cool. They don't understand what free enterprise does for economy's growth and for their pocketbooks. Though the media might not tell them that, they see a growing economy, more money in their pocket. They actually can move out of their parents' basement, David. They can go get their own place, maybe buy a house. This economy not just does wonders for the economy, but it does wonders for the next generation. Just like I grew up in the Reagan years. It's amazing what good policy does to make people believe that free enterprise works, as opposed to the failed policies of Barack Obama, the collectivist socialist model, and what that does for growth. It decimates it. So this is great on all fronts. I hope President Trump comes out with a plan. He and Larry will want to work together a little bit on that. But I like that Kevin Brady, too, at Ways and Means is up for it again. And let's keep winning. This is great.
Congressman, this is the issue of the night. We only have 20 seconds to talk about it. But Andrew McCabe, you know his history. You know what he did. You know that an internal audit of what he did from the FBI suggested he be fired. But if he's fired before Sunday, he loses his pension. What say you?
Anyone in any other part of the economy, if they did that, they would be fired. They'll lose their pension. Andrew McCabe should be treated like every other American. It appears that he lied to the FBI, and if so, he should be fired. He should lose his pension. Kick him out the door. We have zero tolerance for politics in the FBI or the DOJ. Get him out. No pension.
Congressman Sean Duffy, thank you very much, Congressman. Good to see you.
Thank you, David.